I'm so much taller than you. Should I go down here?
Whoa, okay, yeah. Let's start with this moment, shall we? Where we are right now. We've got our gorgeous little angel, Mila Olive Erasmus.
She's so perfect.
She's so perfect. But her kidney didn't get the message.
She's like, guys, did not consent to being on camera.
She's not on camera, look. Her hand is. I mean, there's so much to say. But sitting here
on Beech Ward at the Evelina
in Westminster, we are watching Baxter, our new best friend, yeah, pump away.
On dwell 2 of 30.
On day 33 of Mila's life.
Yes.
Watching the dialysis machine perform, I guess, one of 5 major functions of the kidney.
We haven't quite got the kidney terminology in terms of kidney functionality.
Well, and unless you watching this know something about kidneys because you're on this kind of journey, I knew bugger all. I could have confused it with a pancreas or a liver. But now we've been on a crash course, haven't we?
Yeah, who knew kidneys were basically one of the most important things in the body? Yeah. And you only need one of them.
And you can use an adult one in a baby, which is also bonkers. But yeah, we have 2 of them.
It's not quite a baby.
Well, no, a small. Well, no, like an 18-month-old.
An 18-month-old.
Even a year-old. A 10-kilogram baby.
10-kilogram baby can have an adult kidney, as long as they have the right length between their rib and their hip to fit an adult kidney in.
And a compatible blood type.
And a few other things that we don't know yet, because we are not that far along the journey. So we are day 1 of machine dialysis.
Yeah, after 3 days in the intensive care ward below, where we've been on hand dialysis, which is about the most high-tech laboratory I've ever seen. Like you're in Iron Man or...
You look like you're going to the moon, the mission control station.
Exactly, but in there we're then using the most analog thing where you use gravity to drop some fluid into a gap, into this cavity inside her. Anyway, we'll get into that another time.
Yeah.
But I started here because I just don't know where else to start, because there's way too much to say in one short video. But we felt like, well, you've always been against video, like for yourself.
It's the first time I feel like I can be on camera, just rolling in the background, and me not paying attention to it, because I finally got something important to talk about.
I've never been in a crazier month where it's more important and where we've had to keep our world so small just to survive, basically.
Yeah, the sensitivity around just anybody really, beyond immediate family being here.
But then again, we've met so many new people. I think we realised in the first 10 days...
I met like 300 people.
Yeah, at least 100 people worked on her.
Directly.
Yeah, and we've been on a guided tour of the London hospitals.
TripAdvisor reviews pending for Kingston NICU, Great Ormond Street Hospital NICU, Great Ormond Street Hospital Eagle Ward.
Renal Eagle Kidney.
And then Evelina Beech Ward, Evelina PICU, Paediatric Intensive Care Unit. So yeah, we've had loads of houses, just not Surbiton yet.
Why would we make a video?
Day 33, day 34 of the journey.
Because obviously labour started the day before she was born.
Yeah.
All going well, wasn't it?
It was great. It was the perfect pregnancy and then the perfect labour to a certain point in the birth
11 hours.
Yeah, got to 10 centimetres with just gas and air in a dimly lit birth centre with fairy lights, birthing pool that I got in and out of a few times. And then...
Who was our midwife in
Immaculate.
That? Immaculate, what a name, and she was amazing.
Fantastic.
And then
Immaculate left, and then everything went sideways. So I think maybe it was Immaculate. And then waters didn't break. So the next midwife had to break my waters, and then meconium was present, which
baby poo
in the water, which escalated everything to emergency status.
5 minutes later,
transferred to the labour ward, having contractions keeping my eyes closed in a wheelchair, and then going from this beautiful space with one other person and you to like 6-8 people. Emergency, get her out in 10 minutes and do what you have to do.
We did get the skin to skin though. Like when that all calmed down, you got out 45 minutes, an hour with her, and I got 20 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah.
But then we noticed that her breathing was a bit laboured.
Yeah.
And they rushed us into NICU from there, which is the neonatal, so brand new baby intensive care unit, NICU, NICU. But as you said, it wasn't the birth we wanted, but it was the birth that we needed.
Yeah, to get us onto this diagnosis journey. Because had Mila not had the respiratory problems that she did, then we wouldn't have had all of these other tests. We might have even just taken her straight home and a week later been presented with some of the symptoms that might indicate kidney problems but may or may not have been detected quickly, and who knows what the outcome might have been. So within a couple of days of being in Kingston in that environment, it was clear that there was more going on. Yeah. And that we reached the ceiling of their expertise.
Well, it was sodium, wasn't it? All of a sudden, the sodium levels, which sounds like fairly innocent, or like you put too much salt on your chips, but
which we do.
Which we did. We might not anymore.
Which we did. Yes.
Many things might change going forwards. We'll see. But it became quite serious, and as you say, they reached the end of their brain power on it and started calling the Evelina ward at St Thomas's, which is what we're in now, and Great Ormond Street renal ward, getting advice really.
And then there was big debate about where we should go because the Evelina had no beds,
but it's closer to our home.
Yeah, and Gosh were weighing up whether to send us straight to the renal ward or whether to go into NICU there, the intensive care unit, which is where we ended up.
And there were so many thank yous that we'll miss out, that we'll forget.
Goodness.
But hopefully at least a few of the people we'll mention will at least be like one person away from the people that we should have thanked. Because as we said, we've met so many people who have just made such a difference. And the person I'm thinking of right now, we met the Beckys, we met the other people in that ward who were going through crazy stuff at Kingston NICU, but the guy that really, I think, championed us and really advocated for us was the radiologist that came up, and his name escapes me now, but it will be in my notes. I've made little diary notes of every day, and I'll be able to bring it up on screen or something, but he was really clear that we needed to get out of here and get into a specialist ward.
And he spent a really long time looking at Mila's kidneys on a machine that wasn't perfect for it. Made it very clear in front of lots of people that we needed specialist attention and quickly.
And then the transport team came like 4 hours later.
They were incredible.
They were insane. That guy with glasses, that other guy that did the handover.
Yeah, the handover was ridiculous. And then arriving at Great Ormond Street and it being we were transported into some futuristic.
It's like we got beam me up Scottied. We got beam me up Scottied to Avatar Land. I drove there, which was probably dangerous, and you were in the ambulance getting blues and twos through
Which was the
London.
weirdest experience, 2 days after giving birth, and I'm looking through, I can see a few things through the ambulance windows, you can't see much, but thinking, what are we doing?
And then the guy who did the transfer.
5-minute monologue.
A 5-minute monologue on absolutely every single detail that could have possibly been important in our case, from the moment she was born to the moment we arrived, and we were just totally blown away by it. It was amazing, and to feel that plus the care of Great Ormond Street, which is such a special place and such a special world, and the nurses were amazing.
Tanaya
Tanaya's
overnight made a really beautiful collage of photos that she took of Mila, and the next day it was pinned up with her name.
Which has been really important, because I think one of the hardest things, it sounds crazy to say it, but like Mila feeling like she's ours, because when she's plugged into tubes and machines, it doesn't feel like you've got agency just to do what you'd normally do. Is she becoming that person that you want her to become? And when the nurse then made the sign and put her name in lights and all that, it really helps with the feeling that she's becoming that little person.
And that these days really matter and that they're real and that they're part of the story, as opposed to just waiting for this to be over. Because I think that's one of the things that we've learned about hospital life is that... Hi. It's okay.
No, you're
it's
fine.
all good.
Little video diary.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dum dum.
I almost did the dad joke.
Such a good fun. What'd you get?
Quite bored.
Yes.
About right. I'm going to get that amlodipine soon.
The great amlodipine experiment.
Exactly.
It's one of many drugs we've learnt about. I mean, you can list them off, can't you? Cholecalciferol.
Oh yeah, well done.
Did I get it right?
Yeah,
Oh, right.
alpha-calcidol, furosemide, calcium carbonate,
Lactulose.
lactulose queen,
And what's the new one? Parapanolol.
propanolol.
Propanolol and prazosin. I mean, basically, our last month has been a series of mini panics on different metrics and measurements, like blood pressure, heart rate, some on the electrolytes, which is like sodium,
Potassium.
Potassium was the big
Potassium
one. That was
is
the game changer.
Who knew that the kidneys were responsible for filtering potassium and keeping it at the right levels in your body? People know, we didn't. When your potassium gets too high, it endangers the heart. There were a couple of moments in Great Ormond Street where it became quite an emergency situation quite quickly, where suddenly she's having
Sabutamol, like asthma stuff, basically, but through a nebulizer. It all looks quite emergency all of a sudden, and they're like, no, nothing's wrong, but there's like 6 doctors there, and you're like,
holding the
this
thing
is
over
not.
her. But we've been very proud of her for taking all of those meds orally. In fact, it was your first act of rebellion, wasn't it, honey?
4 hours old.
Yeah, she was just the
Things meant
NG.
to be all like googly and not know what they're doing, but she just.
The NG tube goes down, and she's just like, nope, pulls it straight out of her stomach.
Well, she's got the Schweitzer and the Erasmus genes, so we'd like to think that although we've given her a dodgy kidney, she has got quite the appetite.
Yes.
And so far, so good.
I mean, one of the really tricky things for me has been that I was really excited about breastfeeding and very convinced, as you know, as I'm sure many people are, of the benefits of breast milk. But as soon as we knew that there was a kidney problem, that's when the fluid restriction came in, and the need to condense calories into a small volume of fluid that you can't do with breast milk alone.
If the kidneys aren't working, you hold on to fluid and it makes you puffy. But if you don't give enough nutrients, then she's not going to grow, and she's in a phase of explosive growth. And it's all basically all the incredible intricate work that the kidneys have always done for us without any complaint or any request for payment or anything like that. And it's been an amazing realization of that little organ. It's not responsible for growth, but if it doesn't do its job, growth isn't possible. So it's
a protein.
Yes, exactly. If it doesn't hold on to the protein, it can't be used to build the muck bones and muscles. And if
Did you say the muck bones?
The muck bones.
Bones and muscles. The McDonald's bones.
There's lots more we could talk about in the journey, but I guess it's worth saying that about a week ago we talked about, you know, if you've got a dodgy kidney, all right, if your kidneys are dodgy, it's not the first time I've been corrected, then you take meds to try and help it, and you try and take them orally. If you can't take them through the mouth, then you put them through the tube if she would let it stay there. But then if that doesn't work and you can't maintain balance and growth, then you end up doing dialysis, which is using a machine to help you with some of those processes. And at a certain point, when a baby or person is big enough and ready, then you might get a kidney transplant in order to get one that works. And you might need 1 or 2 or 3 of those in a lifetime. And we've been introduced to that, but the sense of it was...
It was down the road. The dialysis journey was probably a year away.
At some point before she's 1, she'd probably need dialysis, and maybe when she's 2 or 3, she might be ready for a transplant. But last week, it was a really intense moment where both Chloe and Mila were both, you know, in the wars, and we realised that dialysis journey was not a year away, but it was imminent. We thought we would put the tube into her, the catheter, and let it rest for a couple of weeks. But we got here and they've been insanely amazing. Nick, the consultant who started us off, settled us down because we were a bit perturbed and a bit upset about changing where we got used to for a month. We've definitely become quite institutionalised.
Oh my goodness, you get institutionalised so quickly.
The next day they found space for us in theatre to insert the catheter, which went well. And then that night, the potassium spiked much higher than we'd had it before. And they basically said we need to start dialysis immediately.
When we were told that we might need to go on to dialysis that night or the next day, that was quite a concerning, alarming thing.
But because they did all the communications really, really well, and we have been upset at times in this journey where we haven't been communicated with and felt like we're part of the decision making.
Not that often, though, I would say.
No, but enough to know the feeling of what it feels like. And people have always resolved any like glitches, let's say, but we know that feeling. But we haven't got that. Like, although it was all happening extremely fast, it was like we were being taken by a wave. But because we were being talked to and explained at every step, it's felt okay and it's gone really well. And so 2 days ago we went straight down to PICU, paediatric intensive care, and we started on this hand dialysis that we mentioned at the beginning. And then just now, an hour ago, we got brought back up to the beach ward, level 3 at Evelina, which is just a stunning building. I might try and sneak my drone in here one day and fly it up and show you.
Inside?
Yeah.
Wow.
It might not work, but it might be nice to show people.
We might get thrown out.
Yeah, or it might go on the Instagram showing, like, it's an amazing building, people need to see it. Like, this is a whole world that we haven't touched before. We've said, haven't we, we've never been more thankful for the NHS and taxes and never complain about that.
We'll never complain about taxes ever again. And I feel like you just reach different levels each, every step of the process. We've reached a different level of kind of, oh my goodness, this is what is actually happening in these buildings, and this is the level of care, and this is what it looks like for nurses to work 12-hour shifts every day.
I've driven past here 1,000 times, and you just don't see what's going on. And for me, like, I gave up on the city and society and I still love off-grid, I still love the peace and serenity and depth of human nature that you find there, but I feel like we've met the best of the city, the best of why you would have a city. I now get it. For me, it's not for even the gigs or the pubs or the parks or the whatever. It's for this. It's for hospitals. It's the best of technology and science and compassion and care and all
expertise,
of it.
knowledge. It's been astounding.
And you need all of the universities and all of that stuff to build the foundations to give rise to this kind of collective mind. Even between the hospitals, between Gosh and Evelina, there's a sense of camaraderie, community, like shared brain, and I'm just deeply thankful for it, because what Mila's got, which we'll talk about another day, the condition is so rare that without that evolved mind, collective intelligence, we might not be here. We might not be a Three Musketeers trio, and we're just eternally grateful, which is partly why we want to make the video, just to thank everybody at Gosh and Kingston and here. I mean, the names are too many, aren't they?
Oh my goodness, there are literally hundreds of names. I think we calculated, didn't we? It was about 150 at the end of week 1.
Yeah, even today, just an hour ago, Peggy. Never met Peggy before, but Peggy managed to get the line in which connected Mila to the machine, which is like, now I'm so thankful to Peggy. And every day is this person that you think is going to be this brand new important person.
And you meet all these incredible nurses, and you get a different nurse each day, and you think, oh my goodness, they're so brilliant, I really hope I get them tomorrow. And then you meet someone else the next day or the next night, and they're also fantastic, and they have the care, the expertise. I had no idea. I had no idea what a nurse's job actually entails.
Oh, it is proper heroism.
Yeah.
But I think we'll just throw some names out, like Maura the consultant, Roseanne, both Lilies,
Anang,
Beth,
Katie, who helped us with the transfer to here, Seb, who welcomed us onto the Eagle ward, and who laughed about the amount of breast milk I had in the freezer on the Eagle.
And I think Katie's a good example. We didn't know her well, she just helped with the transfer, but we didn't land here very well. We were discombobulated, and she and Chloe was ill, and she didn't take her ride back with the transfer fees because she wasn't happy that we were in yet, and she waited and then had to get a cab back on her own. And it's that level of diligence and care that has marked this journey. And then here we've had Nick, Mina, and Fern, Kendall today.
Connor last night.
Connor is
Brilliant.
funny.
Talking about Flight of the Conchords at 11 p.m. whilst Mila was so wide awake and just in such a great mood.
Our families have been brilliant, like Debbie and Liv coming and spending so much time here with us, getting on the train from them, like
taking our washing away,
and we have
bringing us toiletries, doing all the basic things that have just been impossible for us to even think about as we've been moving from ward to ward.
It is a journey of appreciating the here and now, of surrendering.
I'm handing my trolley.
Oh yeah, we'll take your trolley.
This one, yeah.
Sorry.
That's right. Well, that could mark the end of this video, couldn't it? We could just say we're excited to think about like what we're learning, both in extreme like baby scenarios, and also what we're learning about kidneys and dialysis as we start this journey,
and how we might contribute to the kidney stories in the world and help others through this kind of process, like the post-birth surprises that can happen, living in hospital for a month and in an unfolding story that is just filled with uncertainty on a day-to-day basis.
That's been the biggest part, isn't it?
Sitting in uncertainty.
The deep unknown. Shout out to Eloise as well. Unbelievable story. Maybe at some point we can help you get to know her family story. Just a real inspiration and also a lifesaver when there were no showers. When I
was at my worst state of mastitis and infection last week, when Mila's kidneys were declining, and she let us use her shower. Took you in. Let me use the shower.
That was important.
That is one thing that, having a shower in the morning changes everything.
So if you guys know anything about kidneys, I've put some links in that we've gathered about the charities and organisations in the UK, but we're just beginning this journey of getting to know it. And obviously we're massively benefiting from it because we've got our angel and she's peacefully sitting here and on our journey.
She's perfect.
Oh, what have we got? Paracetamol.
This is our amlodipine.
Ooh.
And we're almost...
Confirm her name and date of birth.
It's Mila Switcher.
Oh, it's Switcher.
Yeah.
I was thinking Switcher.
It should be Erasmus.
Yeah, I thought Switcher for 3 years until I realised it was Switcher. It's her name, it's her.
Oh, it's your name.
Yes, but it's actually Erasmus. We just, the admin didn't happen before she was born.
Her last name's Erasmus.
It will be.
Her real
name's
name,
Erasmus. Yes.
Mila Olive Erasmus.
Yes.
That's actually such a cool name though.
Ah,
I feel like I'm a bit jealous. Anyway, sorry. And then...
I'm so sorry that... 18th of the 2nd, 2025.
That is correct. Good job. And has she got any allergies?
Not that we know of.
No.
Only to amlodipine.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. Well, it's time for us to go. Amlodipine.
Wish us luck. She's got one eye open. She's like, did I hear
she's
amlodipine?
Am I what? Am I who? We don't know what happens from here. We don't know how long often we make videos. I don't know if I'll post all of this or any of it, but just wanted to try because we've got so many friends that normally we talk to all the time and do stuff with all the time that we haven't even been able to like really connect with yet. I think that journey's starting now. I do really want to show everybody the Ronald McDonald House because that's been the next level game changer.
Yeah, to have an actual bed.
Yeah, and I go back to work tomorrow. Like I've got my first podcast record. Like that's what we wanted to film right now. We only get short windows where we can think about anything other than being in the room, but felt like a good moment, and that moment's up because we've got amlodipine time. Lots more to think about, but we're just trying to gather our minds again and share some thanks. And some learnings, maybe some other like insane stories that we've heard and met along the way that I think you guys will find fascinating and humbling. Like the whole journey is very humbling and reacquaints you with vulnerability, whether you like it or not, kind of thing. But also so much meaning and love. The ripples.
Oh my goodness.
That this little alchemist, as our friend Ling Ling calls her, is producing in our families and in the world is just amazing. Being a dad's definitely the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, and being a mum for me. Thank you for making me a mum.
There's no one in the world I could do it with. Other than you.
There's no one in the world I could do it with.
Many little jokes have arisen, as you can imagine. No, but you're the best in the world.
So are you.
It's great watching you be a mummy.
It's the best watching you being daddy.
All right, we'll sign out from here, but tell us what you're thinking. Ciao.